And this would be a bot-mediated reality. This would be bots examining what's going on in the real world and moving information and decisions through civic society on our behalf. I'm going to get a laser pointer for this and step you through this imposing diagram. So here we see the old dirty internet and of course the new darknet constantly gathering news about the real world. News items, rumors, blog entries. And there could be a layer of civic bots, open source, approved, gathering this information on a moment-by-moment basis and distributing small bits of it to citizens in this darknet. The bots don't have to know what the news means. They just pass it to big-brained humans who can sort it out. And as a citizen, part of your duty, your civic duty, would be occasionally to receive this information, and you only have to do two things. You have to categorize it and prioritize it. So if you're walking along and you receive a message that there's been an oil spill, you might think that's a very high priority item. And you might categorize it as ecological pollution and send it on its way. And then a second layer of civic bots would gather all of the information from all of the people who received that exact same item. And it might be thousands of people. And it would determine whether it was collectively perceived as a high priority. And those high priority items, we'd already know the category generally that people assigned it to. And because we collectively have been evaluating each other in our past interactions, we know who the experts in ecological pollution are in society. And so would these bots. And they would direct that high priority ecological pollution news item to the experts in society. And the experts would further evaluate it. They would vet it and determine whether it was in fact real, whether it was in fact high priority. Once again, the bots don't know, they don't care. It's just information that's of concern to us. And that's why this is more of an operating system for democracy. We're collectively deciding. So these experts, if they still rate this as a high priority item, the next layer of civic bots would then identify a high-level, high-reputation expert in ecological pollution, take the recommendations of the experts to assign resources to it, and put them in charge. And so this is a self-organizing system. There's no central leader. It's assignment of political power on an as-needed basis, which evaporates when the need goes away. So there's no central authority, nothing to attack. Now in the past, if everyone could get 15 minutes of fame, in this system, everybody could get 15 minutes of power. Now there's still infection and malware, but a diverse open source system like this can deal with that much better. That's because it's a natural system. It's constantly evolving. There are many hands involved in it. Because static systems are doomed in nature, as they are in digital networks. So in conclusion, now that I've worn you all out, although bots do permeate the modern world and they present a potential danger to us, and they're not going away, I really do think that we can achieve a symbiotic relationship with narrow AI. And I think we can make them the impartial arbiters of a democratic society. And I think that's the type of network we should be working on. So thank you very much. Good evening.
Daniel, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
For those of you who haven't read it, for me it was one of those remarkable experiences. It happens every once in a while. You read a book and suddenly the world changes in front of you. this is one of those kinds of books that suddenly the world, the future, what was possible, changed for me. And as you might imagine, given what I do, I read a lot of this stuff, and it is a very, very rare moment, and that was one of those very rare moments. So thank you, David.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It is hard to surprise Stuart. It is hard to surprise me. You did it.
Cool.
So I have a couple questions, and then we have a number of questions from the audience. But first of all, you began by saying, you know, you're a software guy. Why a novel?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I've always had a novel in me. I always wanted to write a novel. I have an English literature undergraduate degree. I finally used it. No, actually, I use it every day in talking to executives and trying to translate between programmers and executives. That's where I use that English literature degree.
Well, I must confess it shows. It's also a well-written story. It's a hell of a good story. So, you know, I mean, it shows. Okay. I have to, not everybody out here is a software junkie. What's a rootkit?
A rootkit is a stealthy piece of software that takes root access control of your system. And there are different types. There's a kernel rootkit, which essentially takes your operating system and it slips underneath it and it runs your operating system. So when you try to run antivirus, the antivirus can't see the rootkit because the rootkit says, you're not going to detect me. So it's something that runs your system in a stealthy manner.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, you know, obviously these bots don't have values. They don't have aspirations. They're just kind of carrying out algorithms.
Correct.
They're very banal. But, of course, we had the wonderful, excruciating phrase from Hannah Arendt, the banality of evil.
Yeah.
So does this imply that these are, in some sense, evil? That maybe we should be getting rid of our cell phones? That these are You know, the root of all evil? Is this...
Well, it's like this. Any automatic system can be used for bad purposes. You could create a door closing mechanism, and then some jerk can put some innocent person in the way, and it can smash them. So, you know, automated systems do exactly what we say, but they typically don't have a sense of context. So they can be invade to accomplish some very bad thing by people. So if you get rid of your cell phones and all this other stuff, I don't think it would help. I think it's better if we build in mutual safeguards so that if I misuse a system, you'll know about it.
Darknets.
Yeah, I think. Because then you know, in order to get into the system, your identity is known. And that's the key, I think, to reputation systems.
Now, I want to talk for a moment about your use of nature as a metaphor here. Mm-hmm. Maybe you don't mean it as a metaphor.
Yeah, it's literal
but question, first of all, you began with efficiency. Is efficiency the only goal of a bot?
Once again, I don't think bots have goals. It might be the only goal of the designer of the bot, because I think there's this drive for constant efficiency. And if I remember correctly, in nature, in the absence of parasitic infestation, species will tend towards parthenogenesis, that is cloning. And then when parasites are introduced into that system, the genetic monoculture that's been created quickly crashes. So this happens in nature, and I think that's kind of what we're building in real life, in our digital networks, is a monoculture.
How does that natural selection actually work for bots?
Well, we're the evolutionary mechanism for bots, and I think it's largely measured by efficiency, how much efficiency a bot can achieve in a given task, and also survivability, although we are constantly putting a hardened shell around our systems rather than letting the bots fend for themselves in an open network, which I sometimes wonder about, because when you see a botnet get behind a network, it can very quickly cause major problems. I hope that answered your question.
Okay.
Let's give it another shot.
Well, no, that's all right. Let's go to some of the questions from the audience. Seth Franklin, where are you? Over here. Is it really appropriate to say bots make decisions? Aren't they just executing algorithms like a car or a bicycle?
Yeah, correct. Actually, they are. They're regurgitating decisions that someone made, possibly in some other context. But once again, they'll do so remorselessly. So actually, when I say we're letting bots make a decision for us, they're following a logical pattern. Those of you who used, MapQuest to get here, you allowed a bot to make decisions for you how to get here. And mostly, that's not a problem.
So it's that class of decisions that you mean?
Correct.
Okay.
Straight Boolean. Yes, no, right, left.
Now, coming back to the natural metaphor, is there any evidence yet of bots actually evolving or mutating?
No, not on their own. And I think, well, there's genetic algorithms that do that, you know, where you run several generations.
But that's by design.
That's by design.
Okay.
And bots, once again, if they don't perform well or they don't sell well, the engineers go back and reconfigure the algorithm in the hope that they become more efficient or don't make mistakes. And inventory leveling applications are a good example of that. Because if you have too much stock around, you've made bad decisions in your algorithm. So they will evolve over time through human help to become more efficient.
Well, okay, but when we see in nature, you know, organisms mutating either alone or through various genetic combinations, what's going on?
There's a catalyst for it somewhere.
Yeah, well, what's going on at the level of software that actually makes that happen?
I think efficiency is the driver. I think that is the thing that causes mutation.